I think it's pretty clear to everyone, except perhaps Transport for New South Wales, that the number of cyclists has shot up since the pandemic lockdown started. Now, can we quantify the increase? And has the composition of the cycling population changed? That's my dog sneezing. For safety reasons, I've got 2 cameras on my bike and I record every ride from start to finish. Unfortunately, I've only saved footage from a few rides prior to the lockdown that I can use for comparative purposes. I've trawled through my archive and found 4 rides around the Bay Run so far from 2018 and 2019 that we can use as our baseline. My methodology is pretty simple. Play about 15 minutes worth of video from each ride and try to categorize each ride into a spreadsheet and then add up the results. This isn't always easy. The sun can be shining in the camera, it can be a gloomy day, at what age to classify a kid as an adult, and blah blah blah. I look at kids and make a value judgment as to whether I think they're old enough to ride around the bay unsupervised. If they look like they need supervising, they're a kid. If they don't, they're an adult. There are definitely problems with managing the different variables involved. Videos have been shot at different times of the day. And traffic on the Bay Run can vary between morning and midday and between weekdays and weekends. Some was shot in summer and some in winter. On some days I did a full lap, on others just 2/3 of a lap. Sometimes I went clockwise and sometimes I went anti-clockwise. We're just going to have to work with what we've got. Now, although this is a small sample, we have some similar features already. The Bay Run is popular with parents taking their kids for a ride, and we can see here anywhere from 1/3 to nearly 2/3 of the cyclists were kids on any given day. There was only one day during my lockdown sample where the number of kids was very low, and that was a very cold day with winds in excess of 40 kilometres an hour. It's not surprising few parents wanted to take their kids out that day. Halfway through that ride, I didn't want to be out there either. The second thing is that men always outnumber women. Not the case with kids though, but I haven't split kids into boys and girls. This isn't surprising. Every cycling organisation in Australia recognises this gap between the sexes, and it's why we have programs like Gear Up Girl running every year to try to get more women into cycling. However, that gap narrowed during the lockdown, with the ratio of men to women dropping from 4 to 1 to 2.7 to 1. This was driven by the average number of men out for a ride doubling, whilst the average number of women more than tripled. This was noticeable whenever I rode. I haven't just been sticking to the Bay Run. I saw this down on the Iron Cove river and also going down to Mascot and various other places. In fact, it's worth noting that on my 4 rides prior to the lockdown, I saw a total of 13 women out for a ride across those 4 rides. During the lockdown, I saw more women than that on 3 of my rides, and I think that's kind of significant. That just gives you a flavour of the kind of growth we've experienced. The last thing to note is that the average number of kids spotted per ride nearly doubled. And one thing I noticed is that many families appeared to be cycling from home to the bay rather than sticking their bikes on the back of the car and driving to the bay. I'm assuming the steep drop off in vehicle traffic made everyone feel safe and comfortable with riding on the roads. Now, I've still got more videos to trawl through, but I don't think they'll tell us anything different. Anecdotally, I've heard from quite a few people that there are more people cycling and that women on bikes are a lot more visible. I've also heard that cyclists who have been doing the Bay Run for years are having to take extra care with all the wobbly kids riding around on trainer wheels, and I've certainly experienced that myself. These stats simply back up those unstructured observations.